Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. The widow of Haiti's assassinated president, Jovenel Moïse, has posted an audio message on Twitter saying that he was killed by mercenaries because of his determination to rewrite the constitution. Martine Moïse said the president didn't have the opportunity to utter a word before being murdered. Leonardo Rocha reports.
Martine Moïse said she and her husband were taken by surprise when armed gunmen entered the president's palace in the early hours of Wednesday and shot at them several times. She said President Moïse was killed because he wanted to change the constitution to improve the lives of ordinary people. But the changes planned by the late president were controversial. Earlier this year, thousands took to the streets in Haiti, accusing Mr. Moïse of trying to rewrite the constitution so that he could run again for president in elections later this year, which the current constitution would not allow him to do.
The Venezuelan government has said at least 26 people, including 4 troops, have died in 2 days of clashes between security forces and gangs in the capital, Caracas. The Interior Minister, Carmen Melendez, said an additional unspecified number of civilians had been killed and nearly 40 injured. A district in eastern Germany has declared the country's first cyber disaster after a hacking attack on its official computer systems. The declaration of a disaster unlocks emergency federal help. Viv Marsh reports.
Officials in Anhalt-Bitterfeld in the state of Saxony said their IT operations had been almost completely paralysed since Tuesday and would be out of action for another week. That means they can't pay out welfare benefits and need federal help. The German Cybersecurity Agency has sent a crisis team to the district. Officials haven't commented on whether the hackers have made a ransom demand, but many local government systems are reported to run outdated or badly maintained software that could expose them to hacking attacks.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has called for calm following violent protests linked to the imprisonment of the former President Jacob Zuma. 25 lorries were torched and shops were looted overnight. The police said at least 26 people were arrested. Nomsa Maseko is in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and sent this report.
Pro-Zuma supporters barricaded a number of motorways, burning tyres and rubble in Mr. Zuma's home province of KwaZulu-Natal.
This protest is the one that says Zuma must be released from prison. All he's saying is that he wants Zuma to be released, nothing else. He wants Zuma out.
His imprisonment has exacerbated deep divisions within the governing ANC. The party has urged its members to remain calm and respect Mr. Zuma's decision to surrender to authorities.
Nomsa Maseko reporting. You're listening to the World News from the BBC. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has won a landslide parliamentary victory to secure a further 5-year term, his first electoral test since coming to office in 2018. Mr Abiy hailed it as an historically inclusive election. No voting took place in Tigray, which is in the grip of a conflict. The statues of 2 Confederate generals standing in the U.S. city of Charlottesville, Virginia, have been removed. That of Robert E. Lee was taken away from a central square. Another of General Thomas Stonewall Jackson nearby was also taken into storage. Our North America correspondent Peter Bowes has the background.
Plans to remove the statues first emerged in 2016. In fact, it was a petition started by a local high school that set the wheels in motion. But there was strong opposition from a number of far-right groups who, rather than seeing these statues as reminders of America's history of slavery and racial oppression, they preferred to view them as markers of Southern culture. And it was sentiments of that kind that led to the 2017 Unite the Right March in Charlottesville. There were also counter-protesters, and violence erupted between the two sides, and a woman was killed when a car ploughed into people opposing the rally.
A meeting of G20 finance ministers in Venice has endorsed a policy to standardise the tax rate for corporations around the world at a minimum of 15%. The US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen welcomed the historic reform, saying it must now be implemented. The policy will now go to a meeting of G20 leaders in October for final consideration. In football, Brazil will take on their arch-rivals Argentina later tonight at Rio's Maracana Stadium in the final of Copa America. Brazil are the reigning South American champions, while Argentina have the opportunity to lift their first major trophy since 1993. Controversially, the authorities in Rio are allowing a limited number of fans into the stadium. BBC News.